I hope she took a little piece of humble pie today, because that's what was served to her. Just a little, but we'll be serving a lot more of that in the next couple of years.
So that is Alina Habba, who is taking a victory lap, which I don't think I've ever seen someone take a victory lap after utterly failing over and over and over again, at least in terms of her effect on Trump's legal challenges. So she has presided over multiple losses that have already cost Donald Trump $100 million, and that's with the civil fraud bond still waiting in the wings over the next 10 days. But she's happy as a representative of the Trump legal team, because obviously yesterday a New York appeals court reduced the $464 million bond to just $175 million. That is a lot less. It's still a lot of money though. It still doesn't look great for Donald Trump, so she seems oddly jubilant, but I guess you'll take your victories where you can. But here is the thing. She herself has not helped him out very much. And there's been a lot of commentary about that in the punditry, but also former Trump lawyers have been pointing out the failings in her as a legal advocate for Donald Trump. We want to give you a little bit of that. So here's video of Tim Parlator and Ty Cobb, who you might recall. They've both represented Donald Trump in different legal proceedings, and here are their thoughts.
From my perspective, I would regret having her represent him. I mean, I do think that in both of these trials, he was essentially undefended. And I think that it could have turned out differently. Once the issues were set up from the first trial, second trial was a loser from the beginning. The question is, how big of a loser? And this goes back to, a jury is going to come up with a number. And you have to put on the best presentation to them to get them to come to a lower number. And so all of these, things that she did throughout the process, I don't think helps at all.
What do you think about how she's handled the case?
I think she's handled it in the mafia way. She's done his bidding. She's articulated his political narrative of victimization and unfairness in the judicial system, and made some outlandish claims, including the conflict claims, and she lost. So she's a loser.
Okay, so, a nuanced take on Alina Habba from the former lawyers. And just in case you question their, I guess, qualifications to make this criticism, the first man you saw there, Tim Parlator, who he's the one that called her a loser. Sorry, no, both called her a loser. Sorry, Alina Habba. A lot of people are calling you a loser. I apologize that I'm getting them mixed up. But Tim Parlator spent over a year working for Trump on a number of legal challenges, including very high profile cases like the DOJ's January 6th investigation, as well as the classified documents case. I mean, these are a couple of the biggest criminal challenges to Donald Trump. And Ty Cobb, he was the second guy who called her a loser, who looked there like he would play like a perfect steampunk airship captain at Disneyland. Anyway, he was an ex-Trump White House lawyer and the special counsel of the White House during the Mueller probe. So what you really have there is the entire breadth of the post-2016 Trump legal representation, and none of them think that she's done him any favors. But it's not just his lawyers that are saying that. Sean Crowley, lawyer for E. Jean Carroll, who you'll recall Donald Trump had to pay $100 million, thanks in no small part to Alina Habba. She was interviewed and she claimed that she felt Habba behaved more like a lawyer outside the courtroom than in it, and stated that Trump seemed to be getting annoyed with Habba during the trial. Quote, I think Habba felt like she had to say things to the judge and to us and sort of put on a performance. I think that she had a hard job. And I appreciate the empathy, misplaced though it might be. And I think it's totally right. I think that Alina Habba is really stuck between a rock and a hard place. And the rock, I suppose, is that she does have to put on a performance. That's what Donald Trump wants. That's probably why Donald Trump still seems to show loyalty to her, despite the fact that she's never done him any favors legally. He still seems to like her because she puts on a good performance, both in the courtroom, although maybe not good enough. He seemed a little bit frustrated, but she goes in the media and she throws a lot of zingers, and she insults people and she says some vaguely racist stuff, and all of that is great for him, but it doesn't help her in the courtroom. So that's the rock. And then the hard place is that she's a terrible, terrible, terrible lawyer. And so when you combine those two things, I don't really know how she was supposed to win. I will also throw one extra factor. Generally in this metaphor, you have the rock and the hard place, but there's one extra thing, and that is that Donald Trump is 100% guilty of all of these allegations, and it is blatantly obvious to everyone involved that that is the case. So again, even if you had a competent lawyer, I don't know what they could do to help this guy And unfortunately, they don't in this case. So she's still getting paid. We'll see how long that lasts. She could theoretically be thrown under the bus at any time. If you search Donald Trump's legal history, the history of Mar-a-Lago, it's already happened. So there is a precedent for it. My advice to Alina Habba would be to try to re-up your study of the law a little bit. It might help you in the future. And also appreciate this moment while you have it. Take as much money as you can, if he's even still paying you, because it might not last that much longer. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.